Kirby's Epic Yarn. Boy, do I love this game. There was a time where I once played this daily, even though I already beat it. Which is something I can only say about a small selection of games, and it becomes even smaller when I discard games I played with a completion goal in mind. So what exactly is Kirby's Epic Yarn? Well, it's a platformer. Honestly, that's kind of it. The thing that I think makes this game so popular is that it was made for enjoyment over achievement, which can be funner. There was more to it than that, and that will take up the majority of this video, but anyone can tell you that this game just feels fun to play, and if you give it a chance with an open mind, you're really gonna enjoy it. But why exactly is that? So I'm gonna list out all of the words and phrases I would use to describe this game, and then go through and say how each one affects the game. Cute, unpunishing, collectathonish, straight path platformer, fluid, creative, polished. Those middle words may not exist, but I needed words, and that was all I could think of. So let's start from cute. This game is just amazing to look at. The stitching theme works great and the designers really knew how to use it. Both the background and the foreground are vibrant and look pretty, while also being detailed with the appearance of simplicity due to the choice of limiting color palette range inside of each levels. If I thought about it enough, I could probably assign 1 or 2 colors to each level in the game, since the color palette is kept pretty small in each level. Yet you wouldn't really notice this at first due to how detailed the visuals are inside the color palette. I mean, seriously, just look at everything. Everything is pretty much the same color, it's just all the shades and hues make everything slightly different and make everything look detailed, even though really you're looking at one color essence. Along with this, the game has a lot of charm with the expressions of enemies, like how one of these will throw themselves at you to attack, only to fall in the face and have to get back up. It's super cute, and I just love looking at it, and it's nice. While cute may not fully describe how the visual style just tries to attract you, it's still a fitting word in my opinion. But, moving on, we have unpunishing. This word I made up, but hey, you need words made up sometimes. Otherwise, the English language will never progress. If you noticed, I didn't use the word easy, and there's a reason for that. I feel that there's a difference between difficulty and punishment in games. Difficulty is the actual content of the level and how much skill is needed to get past that content. In, numerical mathematical terms, difficulty is the odds of failure or the number of failures. A very difficult game will have a lot of failure, while an easy game will have little failure. Punishment is what happens after failure. This is actually quite easy to measure by just looking at what the player lost. A game with high punishment will send players back far for failure or steal some of their stuff, while a game with low failure will send them back to one of the main checkpoints and not touch your inventory at all. Now, is Kirby's Epic Yarn easy? Well, actually it's not. It's really not quite as easy as people say. Some levels are nearly impossible not to get in, while others can almost guarantee a few failed jumps. And really, that's a lot different, because in a lot of the games, it's really easy to get through a level without getting hit ever, and in this game, it's actually a lot more difficult than you think it would be, possibly because you don't really care about it. The thing that people actually like to complain about is the minimal punishment in this game. In this game, failure is a step back and beat scattering, and some people don't like that. I can only assume that they feel less special, knowing that anyone can beat this game. I'll be honest in saying I don't like Peach in Super Mario 3D World for that very reason, or that the lack of punishment for failure invalidates their experience. Either way, I love it in this setting. Yes, I'm a hypocrite, but we're all hypocrites anyway, and I have reasons for that, but we don't have time for that. If you want me to explain, I'll explain in a different video. The fact that I can't die means I don't have to be so careful around every tiny enemy, and that I don't have to wait through some failure screen wasting a few seconds to a minute of my life. Maybe a small amount of time, but I still hate it. At the end of the day, this lack of punishment only makes the game more enjoyable for me, as you can make the game pretty hard if you want to with the collectathonish design. The collectathon aspect of this game is where the difficulty comes from. In each stage, there are 3 treasures and a ton of beads to collect. Easy beads, hidden beads, and beads by killing enemies with each other. If it is your goal to get all the treasures, then you have 3 puzzle or platforming challenges to deal with in each stage. If you want the maximum beat score on the other hand, then you have to do everything the level has to offer without ever getting hit. As the streak thing offers speeds with every 50 beads, and you want your streak to be at its maximum. Essentially, the only way to get a perfect score is to never get hit, find every secret, and kill every enemy with another enemy. On top of this, Kirby has satanic friends who offer you wallpaper for playing with them, which can be one of the hardest minigames in existence, but is the only way to 100% the game, taunting you until you break down and submit to the torture to complete the game. This is not an easy task, and even attempting it will not be fun unless you are one of those people who like collectathons. Yet you don't have to play it this way. The other side of the coin is what I call the straight path platformer. This is essentially the fact that you can play the game simply by going from point A to point B. Unlike the collectathon genre, which died out, might I add, this game doesn't force you to collect X amount of things in order to complete a level or get past a specific part of the game. Collecting things is an option, which opens up the game for all types of people to enjoy. The ability to choose your playstyle is great and is what allows so many people to love this game despite the conflict this game went through with the fact that it can't kill you. This, however, isn't everything this game has to offer, and the smooth gameplay of this game certainly helps this game's greatness. The gameplay is super fluid and just feels nice to play. Now, the game isn't some fast-paced action game, so obviously the game doesn't have frame-perfect controls, but for what it has, it feels great, which is pretty impressive for how horrible it is to play games with a sideways view mode. You can defend it all you want, but there are still a million options better than a sideways view mode. The game is almost fully controlled normally, with motion controls only affecting 2 of the morphs and the pointer being used for 1. Honestly, fuck the train. Aside from that, you'll be playing normal Kirby for most of the game aside from the morphs, and while I could go through all the morphs, I'll just say that the train is the only one I don't like. As Kirby, you get your double tap dash, jump and hover, ground pound, and his new yawn grab ability where you can either pull and disassemble objects or let the yawn objects into balls to throw. Aside from that, you only have to deal with a new platforming challenge per stage. These controls are simple, easy, and fast to get used to, and have the perfect balance of floatiness and gravity that needs to feel perfect. This fluidity allows you to see all the creativity in this game. The creativity of this game quite honestly puts other games to shame. Each stage is a level theme that is only used in that level. From the simple to the level defining, each stage will have a theme that lets it stand out and it doesn't have to sacrifice world theming to do this. Let's compare this to 2 Mario games that don't do this nearly as well as Kirby did. New Super Mario Bros. Wii and Super Mario 3D World. The entirety of the New Super Mario Bros. Series has the problem where all the levels blend together, and when a level was actually original in one world, its theme will probably be repeated later on in the game, so no level was special. Now, if you look at Super Mario 3D World, ignoring the reuse of levels in the post-game, generally you won't find a repeated level theme, yet the levels inside the worlds will completely disregard the world theme. I always feel that levels should have a purpose of being in the location they are in, aside from just having a thing to get past, by actually fitting in the location. Whether they need to cheat by using a theme like space or go overboard by having everything fit one specific theme, the levels should make sense where they are, and in Super Mario 3D World, they simply don't. It's not as big a problem as the former, but Kirby's Epic Yarn does this perfectly, and it just makes the experience a little bit better. You'll find levels that fit the world theme in one way or another without ever trampling on the ground of one of its fellow levels. This just makes everything feel so much more connected and nicer, and I really enjoy the little details they went to, as it's a lot easier to pick your favorite worlds when you know what you're going to find in each world. And it just makes everything feel more connected, and because everything is where it should be, it makes the world just feel so much more immersive. And with all this coming together in perfect harmony, the game becomes so polished. You can play how you want, controlling Kirby feels great, you can play with a friend if you are so inclined. Each stage's simple visual color palette is a theme with amazing detail, the music is amazing and fits each level perfectly, the level fits into their own world without feeling like other levels in that world, and you don't have to worry so much about your mistakes. All this comes together to form one of the greatest games I honestly have ever played in my life. It can be relaxing or rewarding, allowing you to have fun however you want. It allows both pros and noobs to enjoy it, as the pros will have a lot more challenges to discover while the noobs can just play however they want. This is truly one of the most polished games I've ever played, and you deserve to play it, because if you give it a chance and look past the strange nature of this game, you might just find something amazing that you can't put down or forget about.